Hello students, it is time for us to move on to Chapter 9, Lesson 11. We're skipping a few, we're skipping 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to Chapter 9, Lesson 11, which has a hammerhead shark on it, and it is on page number 677. Page number 677. And this time we're going to be adding mixed numbers. So remember, a mixed number is like 1 and a half. It's a fraction and a whole number. So we're going to be adding mixed numbers. Let's take a look at example 1. It says a hammerhead shark, hence the picture, swam 2 1/4 miles. The next day it swam 1 1/4 miles. How many miles did it swim all together? Anytime you see all together, that's your key to know that you're going to add. So what we're going to do is we're going to find 2 1/4 plus 1 1/4. And so I bet that if you had a visual here, it would help you. So if we have 2 1/4, that looks like this. Okay, so we've got 2 wholes and 1/4 plus 1 whole and 1/4. And I bet you can see, just by taking a look, I'm going to change my marker, that this would be 1, 2, 3 wholes, and then this 1/4 and a 1/4 would combine together to be a half. 3 1/2. And so sometimes we can do models, and that's fine. But it's helpful to actually know the other way to do it, the algorithm way to do it, so that you don't have to always draw out a model, especially if the numbers are really large. So we're going to skip this estimating step, but I do want you to see this. 2 1/4 plus 1 1/4 is the same thing as 1 plus 1, that's the 2, plus a 1/4, that's this one's 1/4, plus 1, that's this one, plus a 1/4. So we can decompose that fraction. The 2 is 1 plus 1 plus a 1/4, and then the 1 plus a 1/4. So then you can combine them, 1 plus 1 plus 1, these ones right here, gives you 3, and the 1/4 plus a 1/4 is 2/4, or if we simplified that, it'd be 1/2. So that's how we get 3 1/2 by decomposing. You also can do it stacking. So remember, I like to stack when we're adding or subtracting fractions. So I'm going to write 2, my whole 2 1/4, plus 1 1/4. We're adding. And now you're going to start with your fractions, and you're going to say, are my denominators the same? They are, so we just add the numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then we keep the denominator. And then you're done with your fractions, so you just go back and add your whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then you simplify if you need to, and we already decided that we could divide out a 2. So 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So the answer here is 3 1/2 miles. 3 1/2 miles is the amount that the hammerhead shark swam. Okay, let's do some more examples on the next page. Okay, it says example 2. Oops, my book is falling over it. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, it says example 2. The diagram shows the length of a sea turtle. What is the total length of a sea turtle? So here we've got this little length here is 7/8 of a foot, and then apparently from like the shell to shell is 3 1/4 of a foot, and then the head is 1 1/8. So you're going to add together 7/8, 3 1/4, and 1 1/8. And so I'm going to use this space right here to stack them. So 7/8, it doesn't have any holes, so if you want to put a giant 0, you can. There's no whole numbers, it's just 7/8. And then 3 1/4, and then 1 1/8. So we're going to start with our fractions. I've got 7/8, 1/4, and 1/8. And so we're going to try and get a common denominator between those. 7/8, 1/8, 4, and 8. So remember, I can always say, ooh, I can multiply that up to this. Remember, we're going to skip count. We're going to multiply up to get common denominator. So let's make the denominators 8. So this one, you guys, is easy peasy, already done. This one is something over 8. And this one is 1/8, because those ones we don't have to change. So now I'm going to do 4 times what gives me 8? Oh, 4 times 2. Same thing to the top that you did to the bottom. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I have common denominators, and so I can add. 7 plus 2, 8, 9, plus 1 is 10. 10/8. Now, there's something funky about 10/8. There's something, it's what we call an improper fraction, right? It's an improper fraction because it's actually greater than 1. It's actually greater than 1. So we learned how to switch these out a couple weeks ago, but all you're going to do is 10 divided by 8. So you're going to go like this, 10 divided by 8. It fits in 1 time, and there's 2 left over. So that's the same thing as 1 and 2/8. It's the same thing as 1 whole. So this is actually 1 whole and 2/8. So we'll put that here, 1 and 2/8. And then we add 0 plus 3 plus 1 is 4. Plus 4. 1 and 2/8 plus 4. Because this whole numbers are 4. So we can add these whole numbers together. So that becomes 5. 1 plus 4 is 5 and 2/8. And then I can simplify that. Divide out the 2 on the top and a 2 on the bottom. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my answer is 5 and 1/4 feet. So sometimes this fraction number is going to be greater than 1. If it is, you're going to have to add that greater than 1 part to the whole numbers. Okay, let's do some guided practice. Let's do some guided practice. It says, estimate, then add. I want you just to add, so don't worry about the estimate then. So just add. And then write the sum in simplest form. So they've given you the fraction of 3 and 3/8 and 2 and 1/2. And they've decomposed it. So this 3 is 1 plus 1 plus 1. So we can color code this here. This 3 is 1 plus 1 plus 1. And then 3/8 is right here. And then they've given you 2 here, which is 1 plus 1. And then 1/2. But they've switched it into 4/8 because 1/2 actually is, if you change the denominator to 8, you get 4/8. So this one is that guy right there. So now you're just going to add up the whole numbers, or you can start with the fractions, either one. They have the common denominator of 3/8 plus 4/8, so you just 3/8 plus 4/8. So you just add the numerator. 3 plus 4 is 7. The denominator stays the same. And then you add the whole numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this answer is 5 and 7/8. 5 and 7/8. And then let's take a look at this talk math. Explain how to simplify 3 and 6/4. Explain how to simplify 3 and 6/4. Well, you've got 3 whole numbers, and then this is actually a fraction greater than 1 all by itself. So if we had 6/4 and we took out 1 whole so we could give it over to the whole numbers, we'd take out 4/4. 4/4 equals 1. So there's 2/4 left over, 6/4 minus 4/4. So we'd take that 1 and give it to the whole numbers. So we'd have 4 and 2/4, or we simplify, divide by 2. 2/4 is 1/2. 4 and 1/2. Okay, feel free to pause it if you need to finish that up. If not, let's go on to the next page. Independent practice. We've got 4 and 3/5 plus 3 and 1/5. So we're going to stack them up. That's always my first step when I'm adding or subtracting fractions. 4 and 3/5 plus 3 and 1/5. You're going to stack the whole numbers and stack the fractions. So now you ask yourself, do I have the same denominator? They're both a denominator of 5. You do. So all you're going to do is add the numerator. 3 plus 1 is 4. And you're going to keep the denominator. Keep the denominator of 5. Now you've added those fractions, so now you just have to add the whole numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7. You don't have anything over 1, so that's your final answer. And we know it's simplified because they're right next to each other, 4 and 5. Anytime they're one number away from each other, it's all the way simplified. Okay, let's do number 3. 7 and 4 elevenths plus 2 and 6 elevenths. So we've got them stacked up. Oh, it's hard to tell that that's a 4. We've got them stacked up. We've stacked up our fractions. We've stacked up our whole numbers. And now we're just going to add or subtract. This one is an addition problem. All of these are, in fact. We're going to check and see, are my denominators the same? They are. So all we do is add the numerators. What's 4 plus 6? 10. I keep my denominator. I'm done adding my fractions. Now I go back and add the whole numbers. 7 plus 2 is 9. These also are one number apart, 10 and 11, so we know we're simplified. So my answer there is 9 and 10 elevenths. Okay, let's do number 4. We're going to stack it up. Anytime I add or subtract fractions, I'm going to stack them. 5 and 1/12 plus 6 and 1/4. Okay, my first question I'm going to ask is, are my denominators the same? Ooh, they're not the same this time, so they're going to make us work for it. That's okay. We're going to think of a number that both 4 and 12 can go into. And I always check first, can 4 go into 12 evenly? It can. So we're going to keep that 12. So this 1/12 I just rewrite. And then I'm going to make an equivalent fraction for 1/4 with the denominator of 12. So it equals something over 12. And now we're going to do our good work that we've been doing the last couple days. We're going to do 4 times what gives you 12? 4 times 3. I do the same thing to the top that I did to the bottom. 1 times 3 is 3. Now I have common denominators. I got to check my sign. I'm adding. So I'm going to add 1 plus 3 is 4, and I keep the denominator, 4/12. Can I simplify 4/12? Is there any number I can divide out of both the top and the bottom? Well, they're both even, so you can definitely divide out of 2. But is there a higher number? If we find a higher number, it'll take us less steps. Ooh, 4. So I can divide a 4 and a 4. Divide a 4 out of the top. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Divide a 4 out of the bottom. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my fraction answer is 1/3. And now I have to add the whole numbers. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 and 1/3. I know it's simplified because there's a 1 in the top, so I know that I can be done with that one. Okay, let's go down to number 8, because they're already stacked up. They're already stacked up, and I like that. Saves you a little bit of extra work. So it's got 3 and 4/9 plus 4 and 2/3. So they're already stacked. My first question is, do I have the same denominator? Are they like fractions? They are not. I've got a 9th and a 3rd. Remember, they have to speak the same language to add or subtract. So I'm going to think, what can I make the denominator that both of these go into? Ooh, 3 times 3 is 9. I can keep 9. So this one I'm just going to rewrite, 4/9. I'm going to rewrite that one. And then on the bottom one, I'm going to leave a space and put equals something over 3. Oh, not 3, Mrs. Bodell. Something over 9. Something over 9. So now I'm going to say 3 times what gives me 9? 3 times 3. I do the same thing to the top that I did to the bottom. I write another times 3. And now I do the math. 2 times 3 is 6. So 6/9 and 2/3 are the same. Now, I've got common denominators of 9ths, so I add the numerators. 4 plus 6 is 10, and I keep my denominator. Anybody notice something about that? That is a fraction greater than 1, right? So we actually have more than a fraction there. We have another whole number. So we'll do this. We'll add our whole numbers. 3 plus 4 is 7. But 7 and 10/9 is not right because this is an improper fraction. So if we were to take out one whole number out of this. If I had a piece of pie divided into 9 pieces, which is hard to divide by, it's not very beautiful. But if you had 10 ninths, you'd take 9 of them to make one whole, because they're ninths. They're ninths. You'd take 9 of them to make one whole, and you just have one little baby ninth left over, right? Because 10 ninths is the same thing as 9 ninths plus 1 ninth, right? The denominator is the same. 9 plus 1 is 10, and this is one whole. 9 ninths is one whole. So that we can add over here to our whole numbers. So my answer is 8 and 1 ninth. 8 and 1 ninth. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do number 9. Let's do number 9. We've got 6 and 3/4 plus 3 and 1/8. First, I'm going to add the fractions. I'm going to ask myself, do I have a common denominator, 4 and 8? No, I do not. But what denominator can I use? Can 4 go into 8? It can, so I can use 8. So this one's going to stay the same, 1/8. And we're going to turn this denominator into an 8 by making an equivalent fraction. 4 times what gives you 8? 4 times 2. I do the same thing to the top that I did to the bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I have common denominators. I can add the numerator. 6 plus 1 is 7. And I keep the denominator. It's not greater than 1, so I don't have to do all that fancy work over here. And it's also already simplified because it's one number away. Now I just add my whole numbers. 6 plus 3 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. Okay, we're going to do one more. We're going to do number 10. I want you to try to do number 10 on your own. Try to do number 10 on your own. And then you're going to pause the video here and then come back and check your work. So pause the video here. Do number 10 on your own and see what you can get. Okay, if you're stuck on getting a common denominator, you always can multiply the two numbers together. So 7 times 2 is 14. So that's going to be the denominator I turn mine into. So I'm going to give a space, something over 14, something over 14. Okay, go ahead and start there if you were stuck on the denominator. See if you can complete the rest. Start there if you were stuck on the denominator. Okay, let's check our work. We've got our denominator 14. 7 times what is 14? Oh, we know that's 7 times 2. Do the same thing to the top that you did to the bottom. 3 times 2 is 6. Now we do the next one. 2 times what is 14? 2 times 7. Do the same thing to the top that you did to the bottom. 1 times 7 is 7. Now my denominators are the same. They're 14, so I just add the numerators. 6 plus 7 is 13, and I keep the denominator. Now I go back and add my whole numbers. 4 plus 7 is 11. So my answer here is 11 and 13/14. Great work, my friends. We're going to be doing this again on Thursday, so keep up the good work. You guys are doing awesome.